So just to flag a few of the rules that we would like you to observe, and we do this for every witness who will come before us. The first one is to remind you that you have the obligation to share and tell only the truth and nothing but the truth. It is a criminal offense to deliberately give false information to the commission or to withhold information from the commission. The second rule is for you to answer all the questions as they are asked. It may happen that sometimes commissioners ask questions that look like a repetition. Your obligation is just to answer the question to the best of your knowledge. Please conduct yourself with dignity and respect, including when you are referring to other people in your testimony, regardless of how you feel towards them or what you think about them. We would like you not to use derogatory terms in describing or in your reference to such people. We have a duty to treat you with dignity and respect, and please feel free to let us know whenever you feel that we are no longer, or any one of you is not according you that respect. I would like to remind everyone in the room to refrain from interrupting the proceedings. That includes making sure that your mobile phones are either switched off or they are on complete silence. Please remove them from vibration as well, because sometimes it produces a sound that may interrupt our ability to hear the witness or the witness' ability to hear what we are asking. Please minimize movements in and outside of the room so that we can focus on what is being said by the witness. Okay, so what we are going to do, Mr. Sangwa, is we are going to take turns to ask you questions. In this case, I will start, and then the commissioners will come in as we proceed. So maybe as a starting point, could you tell me because I know that you said you are now a civilian, but at the time that the period that we are investigating, 5 and 6 December, did you hold any position in government?
I'll go in Creole.
That's okay. Perfectly fine. So when you speak in Creole, just give him the opportunity to interpret. Yes. Please go ahead.
Les 5 décembre, 6 décembre, oui, je suis officier de la police.
The 5 and 6th of December, yes, I was a police officer.
Deputy commissioner.
I had the rank of deputy commissioner.
Okay. So you were deputy commissioner of police. So that means you would report to the police commissioner.
Correct.
Correct.
And who was the police commissioner at that time?
Mr. Ted Babi.
Mr. Ted Babi.
Okay. And below you, were there other officers that you were managing?
Oui, the assistant commissioner.
Yes, underneath me there was 2 assistant commissioners.
Après, the safety superintendent
and the 2 superintendent.
Okay. I think that is very clear. Could you just describe for us the daily responsibilities that you were expected to perform as a deputy commissioner of police?
À part peut-être que l'ouvrage qui moi qui arrive plus ou moins mon ouvrage qui m'ont fait, c'est mon ouvrage qui commissionnaire et délégué avec moi pour faire.
More or less, the duties that I perform are duties that are delegated to me by the commissioner.
Okay, delegated by the police commissioner. Okay.
Correct.
Correct.
And what type of these duties would what type of these duties?
Il varie, par exemple, meetings, pour attendre bonnes meetings.
It varies, for example, one to attend meetings,
Aussi pour conduct meeting avec les autres officiers.
and also to conduct meetings with the other officers.
Il y en a beaucoup de correspondances aussi qu'on besoin faire.
There are a lot of
écrire,
correspondences also to do.
Et si les temps, si le commissionnaire pas available, soit dans congé ou soit overseas, so moment délégué de son behalf. So là, you know.
So, and this goes also to when the commissioner is not available, either on leave or overseas. Then, in that case, I would delegate on his behalf.
So, apart from the police commissioner, did you have any other authority to whom you reported?
Autant que commissionnaire est available, mon ligne de communication il restait avec commissionnaire.
So long as the commissioner remains available, my line of communication is between commissioner.
That's very clear. During
But when the commissioner is not available,
Oui, là, l'état commissionnaire n'est pas available, il n'est pas dans le pays, soit il n'est pas là. Possibilité qu'il m'avait prendre un call, qui disent encore ministre, et peut-être même dans qui président, il y avait de l'information si le commissionnaire n'est pas available.
In the instance that the commissioner is not available, is not in the country, it's then that maybe I would receive some calls on his behalf, and rarely, in rare instances, might the president maybe ask certain information of me.
Okay. And are you aware, or were you aware at the time that you served as deputy police commissioner, that the government had introduced a law that allows the police to request the assistance of the military and the military members of the defense forces?
Oui.
To,
Yes.
okay. Could you explain to us how that arrangement worked? In particular, we want to understand whether, number one, there was a protocol that was followed when the police need assistance from the military.
Ou si la police il a besoin de l'assistance militaire, en principe, commissionnaire, il va entrer en contact avec CDF.
If the police requires the assistance of the military, in principle, the commissioner will get in touch with the CDF.
So the police commissioner, the commissioner of police will get in touch with the CDF.
Correct.
So am I correct to say, in principle, if any of your, let's say, if you or any of your assistant superintendent or superintendent are overseeing an operation somewhere on in the Republic, and they need assistance from the military, then they would trigger a request that gets to the police commissioner, who would then request on behalf to the CDF.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. Do you remember during your time if there was any written protocol that explained the process that you just outlined?
No.
Okay.
No.
Pas vraiment.
Not really.
Okay. So this was practice,
Correct.
Correct.
but not written
No.
anyway. No. Okay. Now, is this how was that practice always followed? To your knowledge, do you know if there were instances where the practice you explained, which is that only the police commissioner or the one acting as the police commissioner would request the CDF for the soldiers?
Non, pas vraiment. À cause, par exemple, l'État, il y a une opération de route, non, il pas nécessairement comme ça.
No, not really, because, for example, when there are drug operations, it's not like that.
Okay, so how would it work when there is a drug operation? Or it's an anti-drug operation, right?
Yeah.
Because we're calling it drug operation,
yeah,
anti-drug
anti.
operation. Yeah.
À cause, il y a certains officiers qui utilisent attaché avec c'est des trois soldats, un groupe soldat qui a fait une opération.
Because there were
Ils utilisent ensemble.
certain officers who were already attached with a certain group of military officers, soldiers. They were already together.
So it was the police officers who were attached to the military officers. That's what you just said.
Oui, c'est ça qu'ils m'ont dit à cause peut-être pas une autre ils sont des officiers militaires attachés avec la police.
No.
Mais anyway, ils étaient ensemble. Disons.
Yes, that is what I said. Maybe you are thinking or the other way around, that the military is attached with the police, but they were together.
Yeah.
But sorry,
Please go ahead.
who were taking the lead control of this group of people?
Well, il dit en principe s'il y a l'opération la police qui prend the lead. On connaît au moins des officiers qui sont plus high rank officer comme la police tient sous l'inspecteur dans sa team.
Do you
In
have a name?
principle, they say that if an operation is being done by the police, then the police takes the lead. And I know that in that instance, there was a sub-inspector who was an officer of higher rank.
Did you have a name for this sub-inspector?
Joubert.
Sorry?
Joubert.
Mr. Joubert.
Non, et madame.
A lady,
Madame Joubert.
Ah oui, sous l'inspecteur Joubert.
sub-inspector Joubert,
Renette Joubert.
Renette Joubert.
Les types liés aux officiers, comme si en termes rang.
She was the highest ranking officer.
Attaché dans ça.
Maybe let's go back to that a bit later, so that we first understand the structure. So you are saying there were police officers who were attached to which unit in the military?
Disons, c'est un officier de la police qui travaille ensemble avec, peut-être pour faire plus bien, pour sortir plus bien, les officiers de la police qui travaillent ensemble avec certains soldats dans une opération anti-narcotique.
Let's say that there were certain police officers that was working with soldiers in anti-narcotics operations.
Okay. Were these police officers who were working with the soldiers in an anti-narcotics operation, were they in an established unit, or was there a unit with a name which they belonged to?
Clarification from the police?
Yes.
Or from
From the police.
Sous l'inspecteur Joubert, en principe, il sorti côté Potro, Response Services, et il y en a un officier dog unit aussi, sorti côté dog unit. Après, il y en a un Népalais aussi. So, Népalais, si mon imagine bien, ils utilisent dans unit anti-narcotique de la police.
So Sub-Inspector Joubert, I think she came from Potru, the response services, and then there was an officer that came from the dog unit, and Nepali officers as well. If I remember correctly, I think they were already there in the unit of anti-narcotics.
Okay, I think I understand that, but what I wanted to maybe let me clarify the question.
Cool.
So far we have been made aware of a unit, some call it, I think maybe the official name was a special operations unit. Some call it the IBU,
Okay.
right? Which we are informed was based at State House. Is this the unit to which the police officers you are talking about belonged?
Oui.
Yes.
Okay. And they came from different branches within the police.
Yeah.
Yeah. When they were recruited from the different branches within or different units within the police, are you aware if there was any? Were you consulted as the deputy police commissioner?
Consulted, non, pas nécessairement consulted, mais seulement, oui, indirectement, oui, mon gars, met au courant.
Not necessarily consulted, but indirectly I was made aware. Yes.
You were made aware. So you were informed.
Yes.
Your views, because when I'm saying consulted, I mean, did anyone meet with you, or were you involved in a meeting where maybe you may have been asked first? The idea is explained to you and it's justified, and then you are asked what you think about the idea and who you should, whether you can recommend some officers to join that unit. So that's what I mean when I say consultation. So that did not happen.
Non, consulted, non. Mais seulement, mon quoi qui à un certain moment commissionnaire, il dit nous, il point dans ça.
No consulted, no, but I believe that at a moment in time, the commissioner informed us that there would be that.
Okay, so the commissioner informed you that.
No, but he says he believes. That means you're not sure whether the commissioner said that.
Ok, yeah. Moi, assuré qui dans une conversation, pas juste avec moi, avec l'État, nous joignent management, il dit nous, oui, il point dans ça.
I am sure that in our conversations, not just with me directly, but with the management when we meet, that came out of our conversations.
But the point I think you made when you were answering me is you were not consulted, you were informed.
Yes.
Right. In the police, and I take your point that you were primarily performing duties that are delegated to you by the commissioner of police. But in the police structure, is there a management structure, or in other jurisdictions they call it a command element, a police command element? Is there a management structure in the police?
Oui, you know.
Yes, there are.
Who makes up that structure?
Commissionnaire et the head, et normalement l'équipe pour host un meeting avec nous. So dans management, il y a les commissionnaires, avec moi, et avec les des assistants commissionnaires. Après FC, après head of visible policing, ça dit mon qui en visible policing. Après il y a maintenant ça head of specialized unit.
So
DG also, Director General for HR.
Okay. Maybe the interpretation then comes in.
So the commissioner, which is the head, because he would host the meetings, and then there's so altogether there would be the commissioner, myself, the two assistant commissioner, the EFC, the head of visible policing, and then the head of specialized, and then the Director General of HR.
Okay.
Just go back to you say that you get duties which are delegated to you by the commissioner. But did you receive a letter of appointment stipulating exactly what your duties were? I believe that, and you can answer that.
Oui,
Yes.
moi tu gagné l'état d'appointement, oui.
I received the letter of appointment.
And the other duties regarding the delegation of duties, that will be just, normally it's just one clause that will encompass everything.
Oh, yes.
So, but you have other duties which are stipulated clearly.
Oui.
Yes.
We want to know to know what these duties were, what was stated in your
Initially,
head of appointment.
les motigayen appointé, moti head of Anti-Narcotic Bureau, ANB.
Initially, when I was appointed, I was the head of anti-narcotics bureau.
DCP, Deputy Commissioner.
At that time, there was 2 deputy commissioners.
So, moti as ANB specialized unit. L'autre député, il as visible policing.
I was in charge of A&B, the specialized unit, and the other one was in charge of visible policing.
What were your specific duties as per your letter of appointment?
Well, mon papa, exactement. So, moi, je suis responsable ANB, Anti-Narcotic Bureau à l'État.
I would not
Avec un spécialiste, avec des gens qui travaillent dans plain clothes, CID, response services, yeah.
I would not recall exactly, but I was in charge of the anti-narcotics. I overseed the anti-narcotics unit, and these were involved officers from the CID also and the response services.
Okay. Mr. Songwa, you mentioned the head of specialized, you said, yeah? That attended this meeting.
Yes.
Who was the head of this specialized?
Monsieur Dr. Jimmy Bouzin.
Mr. Dr. Jimmy Bouzin.
So, Mr.
He was safe superintendent.
Okay.
He was the superintendent.
Safe.
Now,
Chief
Chief
superintendent.
Superintendent.
Oh,
Now, was he as the chief superintendent of specialized? Was he the officer that was in charge of the CID branch?
CID, oui, tombe en bas son purview, mais seulement il pas nécessairement directement lié en SAS CID. À cause CID gagne en SAS par un surintendant, the head of CID, c'est un surintendant, il tient chef surintendant. So il tient en SAS so CID, disons FCIU qui ban specialize, intelligence, patrol. Tout ça là, c'est en bas, comme head of specialized. Seulement CID, il gagne en SAS par un surintendant.
The CID itself is in charge by a superintendent, even if it fell under his purview, but it was not directly being managed by him or in charge by him. And he was more in charge of the, for example, in the CID, the specialized unit and the intelligence unit.
But was the CID, did the CID had to answer to him?
Yes.
Okay. But the person in charge of CID was not invited to this meeting?
No. He was representing CID.
He was representing CID. Okay.
So you had, you said you had a management sort of structure. Would I be correct to say one of the duties of this management structure is to discuss policies and
Yes.
strategies at a broad level,
Correct.
and
Correct.
coordinate what is happening in the
Well,
different
yes.
units?
Yes.
So if they were consultations that were done with the police on the establishment or on the recruitment of police officers and transferring them to IBU or this special ops committee, then those consultations would have at least been discussed in the management meetings.
Oui, il gagne dit la meeting, mais seulement, again, peut-être par consultation, à cause peut-être des temps de consultation pour moi, la façon dont je dis, consultation, moi, ça va dire, moi d'accord, sont pas d'accord, mais non, ici, c'est quand il informe, qui pendant ça travaille ensemble.
Yes, Maybe it was said in the meeting, but again, not consulted. I was not consulted because for me, what I understand from consultation is that I would say if I agree or do not agree,
Yeah.
but it was mentioned in the meeting that
Yeah.
there would be.
Yeah, and I'm hearing you clearly. And just to clarify that, maybe, I mean, let's say if the establishment of this unit, this special ops unit, is the decision of the president at the time, the president can consult the police commissioner. But maybe the police commissioner would then obtain views from the management. And your evidence is, as far as you can recall, there was no that kind of consultation in this
No.
in these
Correct.
meetings.
Correct.
Okay. Let's also talk about the. Okay, so maybe before I go to the CID, there is you also mentioned when you were answering Commissioner Vidot that one of the specific duties indicated on your letter of appointment was that you would be the head of the anti-narcotics unit. When were you appointed?
2021.
2021.
Spécifiquement quoi, septembre 2021.
Specifically, I think in September 2021.
2021. And can you tell us a bit more about what the anti-narcotics unit's role was?
Plus ou moins pour faire un travail anti-narcotique, définitivement, c'est pour faire surveillance, faire arrestation qui est en connexion pour faire avec drogue, faire un search, mais aussi faire l'enquête. Man di moun ki gagne attrapé, soit à terre, l'eau la terre cécile, soit l'eau en mer, soit man di moun qui vini airport.
So more or less to do jobs pertaining to anti-narcotic, to make surveillance, for arrestation pertaining to drug-related offenses, search, to conduct searches, to conduct investigations with regards to people that has been arrested, and this is done on Seychelles soil as well as on sea, at sea, and for people that are arriving into the country via airplane.
Now, then we have heard during other testimonies, but I think in your testimony you also indicated that there was then a decision to establish a special ops unit based at State House, comprising of the police officers and the soldiers. Am I correct that that special ops unit was purportedly established to do anti-narcotics work?
Yes.
Okay. So what was the relationship between the special ops unit, popularly known as IBU, and the unit that you were now appointed to manage?
Qui travaillent ensemble dans plusieurs instances. De plus, si on appelle Ibou, si vous ne faites aucune arrestation, vous n'avez pas besoin d'emmener côté ANB pour ANB process et faire l'enquête à cause d'autres parties faire investigation.
They worked together at several instances, and the team IBU, if they would or they were to make any arrestation, they would have to bring it to the ANB for the ANB to do the procedures of investigation and processing, because they do not do that part.
From the answer you've just given, I understand by that answer is that sometimes the IBU would act on their own.
Clarifier, ça, c'est pas mal.
No, because
sans aucun policier exote.
Can you clarify, if you do not mind, are you saying that they act without any police officers with them?
Because you just said if they made any arrestation, then they will have to take those who've been arrested to the police. So for me, that indicates that sometimes they acted alone, because if there was arrestation made and they were with the police, there's no need for them to come and bring those who've been arrested to the police.
Non, in fact, ils ont besoin, à cause ça des trois officiers aussi qui attaquent les autres. Ils n'ont pas mal investiguer les autres. So, investigator, il y en a un team investigator qui ban investigator anti-narcotique, ils ont chicote en bas côté NB.
They have to, because the few officers that they have with them, they are not investigators. So when they make arrestation, they will have to bring it to the team. We have a team of investigators, anti-narcotics investigators, at the office that they have to bring there.
Mr. Novo, I've got a question just to try and get me to understand. So there was this group, Ibu and plus certain officers, but did you, under your command or under the police, did you have other officers that formed part of the A and B unit?
Oui.
Yes.
Okay, so can I say that we had two different entities working on drug issues at the same time?
Ou capable de ça, oui.
Okay.
You could
but
say
then-
that, yes.
Okay. Now, did you not find it a little bit suspicious that
Maybe let's hold on that one. That we want to first understand this structure. So just park that question. and
okay,
then
but
you can-
just to
Okay.
clarify,
Yeah,
would you be able to tell us who was conducting intel for those operations?
Mon pas pour capable dire ou lesquels qui fait Intel pour Ibu, mais seulement pour ANB, il y a aussi dans son team l'intelligence.
I would not be
Autant que ANB tcheko avant qu'il t'y gagne l'Espagne, yeah? So il y a son team intelligence.
would not be able to tell you who does for Ibu, the team Ibu, but I know that A&B had a small intelligence team that belonged to them.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think I would like to understand better the different roles between the unit you were managing, the anti-narcotics drug unit you were managing, and the work that Ibu was doing. Did you say in principle, the Ibu group or the special ops group was responsible for investigating?
No. They do not do investigation.
So what
Ibu, no, they did not do investigation.
what would be their, what would be, you can list their
Oui,
their functions?
plus ou moins, ils ont fait l'opération, disons, arrestation, fait search.
They do more or less operations of arrestation and searches.
Okay, so let's hold there. So you are saying the Ibu arrests and search. Okay. But search is part of investigation, right?
Ok, l'état mon peut dire investigation, mon peut cause compiling a case file, right? So, suspect, interview un témoin, compiling of a case file, et puis il y a une bonne examination, exhibit, etc.
Okay. You can-
When I say investigation, I mean compiling a case file with suspects and interviewing witnesses and examining exhibits as well.
Okay. I want to avoid myself being confused further. So you said Ibu's role is to arrest and search. That's what you said. So what was the role of the anti-narcotics unit you were leading in the police?
Ils ont aussi fait ça, en plus, ils ont un team l'enquête,
They
après,
did
ils ont un team intelligence aussi.
that as well. And in
Sorry, when
addition,
you
they
say-
had an investigation team and un team qui fait l'enquête après
Après
intelligence team.
l'intelligence.
Yeah, I get confused where you say they do that as well. Just list for me their functions. Then I can make a conclusion by myself as to whether.
They also fait arrestation, ils fait search, intelligence, en plus, ils fait l'enquête, compiling of case file.
Also did searches, arrestation, and in addition, they did investigation and intelligence and compiling of case file.
So, would we be correct then to say these two units, the one you were heading and the IBU, were doing the same work,
Yeah.
same functions?
Yes.
Okay. Was that your answer to his question?
No, but maybe what you just said, can I just add a
Yeah.
little bit to this? There was just two groups, but you were aware of everything that was going on with this group that had more functions that you said,
A and B.
and you were not consulted with the other one, or you did not know what was going on with the other one, or no orders was coming from you from the other one.
Oui, l'autre team, non, je ne pas prendre l'ordre avec moi, mais seulement il y a une instance que je connais qui involve, par exemple, il y a un moment qui ont besoin d'un additionnel, par exemple, ça pour faire un travail, ils viennent roder. Et en plus, si ils ont fait arrêter un suspect, il y a un exhibit, ils ont besoin, par exemple, je peux dire, plus monnaie, emmène en bas pour les officiers. Comment se procéder pour investigation?
Yes, the other team orders would not come from me, but there were instances that I would be made aware or became aware of what they were doing. For example, there could be instances whereby they would need additional men for a certain specific operation, and certain instances also whereby they would arrest a suspect or an individual, whereby they have to bring them, like I stated earlier, to the office for the processing and investigation.
But in instances where there were abuse, there are cases of abuse by the IBU team. Will that be reported to you?
Non. Peut-être, mais possible, oui. Ou soit possible pour le côté Internal Affairs.
1 minute.
It's possible, yes, or it's possible that it goes to internal affairs.
I mean, I'm sure you should be able to tell me whether they reported to you or not. Don't say it's possible or it's not
Oui,
possible.
non,
You have to be clear in your answer.
Oui, à cause qui à cause, par exemple, on donne nous des options, il possible, il dépend, à cause du monde, il choisit côté y aller pour lui faire son rapport. Il y a dans l'instance, il y a un rapport côté Internal Affairs. Il y a dans l'instance, il va venir dire côté peut-être côté sa unit qui involve, qui travaille avec d'autres.
I said that because sometimes people will choose where they go to report something. Some would choose to go to internal affairs and report what had happened. Some would choose to report it directly to the team that works with the team.
So there were reports that were made to you.
Non, pas nécessairement. Il est capable de contre moi, oui, il y en a l'instance. Mais il y en a, par exemple, des officiers qui en charge l'opération après l'enquête. Il est possible, il y a l'embarras aussi, que ça va des autres du monde. Mais il y en a un moment qui est capable d'escaler, qui a vu dans l'air.
There are instances that it would, but for example, some might go to the officer that is responsible for the operation, and at times it can escalate to further up.
Okay. So there was never any instance where the IBU team would have abused their power, and such abuse would have been reported to you.
On peut imaginer.
I am thinking.
Pas directement, non. mon connaît dans plusieurs instances, pardon, pas mal, madame l'exemple. Il y en a par exemple l'instance que il rapporte dans la station, nous piacisés, et transporter le numéro, il vient, nous prend nos téléphones, il prend nous l'argent, il a les rapports dans la station.
Not directly, for example, instances, if I were to give you a few instances, some people would report to the police station whereby they would state that they were sitting down, a vehicle would pass by and stop and took their phone and searched their phone, etc., etc.
And take out their money.
And take their money.
Money and mobile phone, plus ou moins, yeah.
Take their money and mobile phones, more or less, yes.
And
So,
any other examples?
Ça tient mon cas assez plus familier, téléphone là.
This was
Ça,
more
mon
of
cas.
the familiar cases that we have pertaining to money and phone.
Possible aussi un dommage propriété, disons, casse-moi la porte ou l'entrée. Ça
Damaging
aussi,
property. Let's say you broke my door for you to gain access to enter.
Were you ever made aware of instances where the police would have made an arrest, okay, and the IBU would decide, okay, this is not a person you need to arrest?
police fait une arrestation, il dit non. Non, pas vraiment. On n'a pas un qui vient dans la tête qui m'a imaginé là.
No, not really. There's none that comes to my mind that I'm thinking of now.
But in such a case, who would the IBU report to? Because obviously, the reason I'm telling you that is of instances I know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's not something I'm just speaking out from the air. I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
So, who would be accountable for actions of the IBU team in such circumstance?
Difficile. Difficile à cause, par exemple, il y en a un ou des officiers de la police qui font pas IBU. So nous, c'est par exemple, manier sur l'argent sur un téléphone, c'est faire contact avec les officiers de la police qui font pas ça pour établir. Ça fait qu'ils gagnent rapporté.
It's difficult, for example.
La plupart du temps, c'est comme ça. C'est sauve un peu ça mon problème.
For example, there were two or more officers that form part of the IBU, and we would direct individuals to report it to the officers that was part of the operation. We try to resolve it that way.
Oui, prenez ce bien. Disons, il y a des officiers de la police, mais sont attachés avec IBU.
Let's say you are a police officer, but you are attached to IBU.
Là, nous faisons les officiers prendre contact avec WOC. Il y a des rapports, il y a un tel l'incident là. Ou on a un téléphone, ou on a une chose. Comme ça, nous établissons un peu. Mais seulement pas. Non, ok. Mais seulement une question, monsieur Gilles.
You have to answer so that he can translate.
Oui, par exemple, mon donner l'exemple. Quand il y en a des officiers de la police qui sont attachés avec IBU.
Let's say there are a police officer that is attached with IBU.
Et nous faisons les officiers prendre contact avec ces officiers de la police pour établir ça l'instance qui est.
And we have the officer get in touch with the police officer to establish these instances that these reports have been made.
À cause vraiment pareil, on dit, monsieur Gilles, c'est lesquels qui en savent, lesquels nous faisons contact avec un petit peu compliqué. C'est ça la raison nous prenons ça step. Cause avec ces officiers de la police.
Because
qui attachent avec.
The way you said to establish who is in charge, it's a bit difficult. That's why we took the initiative to address it that way, to contact the officer.
Okay, I think that's fine. Let's go step by step. We'll get to those details. Let's go back to the setting up of this arrangement, because that's where I was at. So you were the head of the anti-narcotics unit in the police. In your appointment letter, you are assigned to head that unit. When do you know who made the decision to establish the Igbo team? It's the
I
president.
think the president.
I think that's also the evidence we have so far, but we continue to test that. So, were you, as the person heading the anti-narcotics unit in the police, were you consulted when the decision to establish the Igbo team and give it the same functions as your unit was made?
No.
No.
So you were informed.
Yes.
Do you think you should have been consulted? I'm not saying, do you think you should have been in a position to review the decision, but do you think you should, your views should have been sought?
Yeah, peut-être, oui.
Yes, maybe.
Okay. So you were not consulted, now you have, in answering some of the follow-up questions, you have already started touching on some of the controversies, the clashes. So this arrangement of two units with same functions, same duties, same powers, did it present any challenges for you in your functions of heading this anti-narcotics drug unit?
Oui.
Yes.
What kind of challenges did you experience?
Cause palais na man l'ouvrage si gagne fait ou pas au courant.
At times there are duties that are performed that you are not aware of.
So these duties are performed by who?
Oui, par exemple, il y avait dans son l'information chose, il allait il fait son travail.
For example,
So-
Ibu would receive their information and they would go and do their duties or jobs.
Okay, and you are not aware of that? Okay. What other challenges?
Après, mon difficulté, c'est investigation, tu tentes pour poser un pays chose à cause palais ou soldat, il pas supposé donner l'évidence, mais si on fait un travail, on besoin capable de donner l'évidence.
So the difficulties we would get sometimes is with regards to the investigation. There poses some issues there whereby some soldiers sometimes after doing an operations they would say that they would not give evidence.
Pas supposé. Not supposed.
They are not supposed to. So, but that is not the case. If you are part of an operation, you're supposed to.
So just so that I understand clearly, you mean, let's say you do an operation and you, like a search, and you recover some items which are evidence, they would refuse to hand it over to you. Is that what you are saying? Or if I misunderstand
No,
you, can you give examples that explain
No,
what
pas faire statement, but reluctant to faire statement.
No, they are reluctant to provide statement. To make a statement.
Okay. But okay, go on.
So in your opinion, do you think they were using the police officers that was attached to this group as scapegoats in terms of explaining the decisions that would be taken?
Scapegoat. Plutôt, moi, va dire, plus ou moins, mettre l'eau les dos, ça va aux officiers de la police, yeah, pour prendre responsabilité.
They more or less left the responsibility to be on the back of the police officers for them to bear the responsibility.
Let me also maybe ask the question I had asked? Did you have any? Did this arrangement of 2 units, same functions, same duties, did it present any challenges with respect to coordination of your work in anti-narcotics
Oui.
campaigns?
Yes.
What kind of challenges relating to coordination can you speak about?
Il est clair que, par exemple, disons, il y a un suspect, il y a une certaine surveillance qui est faite là.
For example,
Right.
let us say that there is a suspect that we are conducting surveillance on.
Et là, on arrive là peut-être pour. On a dû pas taper ou to do the arrest or to do the search.
When the time comes for you to do the arrestation or search,
Possibilité pendant un cancan rester là à cause pour dire mais ça nous tu déjà nous tu déjà veiller nous aussi nous tu déjà on
Yes.
time on this one so we should not have made that best at that moment.
there's a possibility that a quarrel could start whereby the other.
More disagreement.
Disagreement.
A disagreement.
Jikakan.
Would you say it's a disagreement or?
Yeah, it's a disagreement.
I think in the
Yeah.
sense he said it was a disagreement.
There's a possibility that a disagreement would occur whereby they would say that we were surveilling that group, we were supposed to do that bust.
Okay, so you basically have 2 units clashing over a
Yes.
suspect. So that would sometimes jeopardize the investigations.
Correct.
Correct.
Whilst we are on that, we interviewed or we received testimony from one of the policymakers from the previous government and made an observation that look, sometimes the government was trying to bring in new blood to do work and the old guard was resisting. Were you not just resisting changes?
Me personally, no.
Okay. Maybe let's we'll come back to that later. On coordination, are there other challenges that you can remember of? Examples of challenges that you can remember of, if any?
Quelquefois, un dernier, c'est concernant les chaînes narcotiques. Tu n'as pas beaucoup de chaînes narcotiques, so tu as besoin de share.
Last one would be that we did not have enough dogs for the narcotics unit. We had to share.
So you mean the dogs that are used to investigate?
Canine.
sniff
Yes.
and- okay. So you already had limited resources in that area. Then when this other unit was established, now you had to share the limited
So, moi, après
resources.
ça, tu gagnes pour quand tu gagnes encore les autres nouveaux les chiens.
But that was improved later on because we received new dogs.
Okay. Let's talk about something that I think had already started coming out, which is discipline. And maybe before we talk about the specific cases of discipline, as a senior police officer, and in this case the deputy police commissioner, who is also head of a strategic unit in combating crime, do you think discipline amongst the police has anything to do with fighting crime or the effectiveness in fighting crime?
Oui, discipline est une question pour faire quelque chose.
Yes,
Et la base de quelque chose.
discipline has to do with everything. It's the basis of everything, foundation.
Maybe you could say more. Like why do you say it's a foundation?
Oh, comment est la force la police? Il gagne fondé sur le principe discipline. So, les temps sous pas les officiers de police sont pas disciplinés. Il crée conflit ou avec peut-être ou avec ou collègues ou avec civiliens qui ont payé des services.
As a police force, it is founded on that principle, discipline. So if you are a police officer and you are not disciplined, then you...
Oui, on a un problème avec,
You will have
avec civiliens qui ont payé
issues
des services.
with the civilians that you are serving.
So in a way, if you have a group of police officers or people performing policing duties who are not disciplined, it affects the relations with the community.
Yes.
And it affects the community's willingness to cooperate and help in combating crime.
Correct.
Correct.
So, with that understanding, let's now let me ask you a general question, and then maybe we can get into discussing more about discipline. Were there cases that you observed yourself of ill discipline amongst the members of IBU? I'm asking you that question because theoretically or on paper, you are supposed to be working together. We're not yet talking about who was in control, but you were supposed to be working together. So you would know, or you would hear, or you would receive reports of what is happening. So were they cases of poor discipline, ill discipline?
Oui, il y en a une caisse qui arrive côté Internal Affairs, qui man dit mon vient faire statement côté Internal Affairs
Yes.
concernant Timibu.
There has been cases whereby people has come to Internal Affairs and made statements about that.
Was it a big problem, or it was just one minor, small problems?
Par contre, si mon capable qualifier lui gros soit petit, mais seulement il y en a par exemple, tu mentionnes bonheur, il y en a beaucoup. Par exemple, ça m'a sur moi je peux préciser tel transport, il prend une vini, il prend mon propriété, mon papier grand, mon pied ici, mon pied là-bas. Je n'entre dans mon la case, je pas behave envers moi.
I would not know if it would qualify as big or small, but there has been the issues that I mentioned earlier about whereby people would complain about their property being taken and not returned and not given back, and the people would enter into their house, things like that.
Am I correct that there are certain procedures that you have to follow when you are conducting searches?
Oui.
Yes.
Were there any problems of non-compliance with those procedures?
Oui. Ça qui me par exemple, si je peux donner l'exemple,
Yes.
les officiers de la police, disons, il y a pour faire un search. On reste là ça topic anti-narcotique. Les officiers de la police, il y a allé voir, ils voient, ils connaissent les kilos, sont supposés être au jour quoi avec ça, dis-moi.
So let's stay in the context of anti-narcotics. For example, if a police officer has gone to do a search, the people is supposed to see who is there coming to do the search. Or you announce yourself.
Ibu, plus ou moins, masqué.
Ibu was more or less masked, wearing mask.
Yes.
Okay. Now, when this unit, the IBU unit, was formed, you said you were not consulted, you were informed. Did you receive any written communication informing you that this decision had been taken?
Written, no.
So how-
Written, quote moi, no.
No, I don't recall having anything written brought to me.
Addressed to you, yeah. I'm specifically asking addressed to you because you were the head of a unit doing similar work, and you were the deputy police commissioner. Okay, so how were you informed?
À travers commissionnaire.
Through the commissioner.
It was verbal.
Yes.
Okay. Sure.
Mr. Sawa, I just want to, as we go along so that we don't come back. There was a part somewhere that you said that certain investigations were brought to you or to the police force, and some of them were reported to the internal affairs.
Complainte contre bandes officiers. Complainte contre bandes
Complaints
officiers.
against the officers were brought to you. Some of them were brought to the police force, and some went directly to the internal affairs.
Yeah, internal affairs within the police. Internal affairs, il y a une section dans la police qui fait investigation dans police maladie contre public.
Okay. So any time were you made aware of decisions that were taken against those people that committed those offenses?
Issue qui en a là, c'est que sous cause Ibu, mais seulement Ibu qui militaire. So, internal affairs, la police, il n'a pas un mandat pour investiguer, pour faire l'enquête contre les officiers militaires.
The issue that we are having now is that the Ibu team is part of the military, and the internal affairs for the police does not have a mandate to investigate the military.
Si criminel, il y a d'autres affaires.
If it's a criminal matter, it's another matter.
Okay. But you said that on those occasions, the only thing that you could do was question your officers attached to
Oui.
to the Ibu,
Yes.
yeah?
Oui.
Yes.
But then the allegations that you put up was they took people's phone, they took people's money, and what happened to all? Did your officers tell you what happened to those confiscated items that they took?
Oui, il y a dans l'instance, je dis, il y a avec nous, et puis nous pour descendre avec nous pour amener côté NB, à cause, si on saisit, besoin de gagner un rapport, besoin de faire gagner.
There are instances
Entrer.
where they would say it is with
Yeah.
us, and we would bring it down to the A and B, because if you reported it, then you have to bring it.
Anyway, I was just going to add, like, some of these actions are criminal. You say that you don't investigate, you investigate, 1 minute, you say you investigate only if it is criminal. Some of the actions, if you take money from an individual and you don't return, and no case is filed and nobody knows where the money is, that's criminal.
No.
Okay? Yes, it is criminal.
Okay. Okay.
If you abuse a person, you overstep the boundaries and you use force excessively, that is criminal. So, in that case, you don't investigate these Ibu officers if they are military?
Non, pas ça qui mon au courant, non, l'enquête criminelle vraiment qui a fait. Non.
No. Not that I am aware that there has been any investigation in a criminal matter that has been conducted.
So that was a failure on the part of the police.
Well, capable de dire ça.
Yes, you can say that.
You can go.
Or were you prevented from carrying out your job probably?
Mais mon imaginer la police pas nécessairement pour ça, c'est soit pas capable de faire grand quelque chose là.
I would think that the police was not able to push further or do anything more on the matter.
But did you, on finding that you could not carry out any investigations, did you go to the Commissioner of Police to inform him that, look, Commissioner, you've given us, you've informed us about a group that is functioning in the country, and we can't carry out any of our duties towards those people. So, was the Commissioner aware?
Oui, man, c'est que ça man rapport venu, oui. Oui.
You did inform
Yes,
the
Oui.
commissioner.
on the instances that these reports came in, yes.
What did he tell you?
Il y avait un follow-up là,
He would follow up
avec le président
with the
à
president
cause de basé à l'État. So.
And did you
because
get
they have
any?
the status
sorry.
status.
And did you get any feedback if he had discussed with the president?
No.
No.
But actually, I don't believe that the importance of it is to have discussion. Okay, you have discussions with the president, but if anything has been done, which is of a criminal nature, your duty is not to discuss it with the president. Your duty is for you to take action. You will agree with me.
Correct.
So maybe the question is there any reason why you didn't do that? You didn't you didn't charge them criminally?
Well, pareil, monsieur Chirain, nous, ok, monsieur Zizin dit, ouais, il va dire, seulement, vu que nous, la force ensemble, nous fait commissionnaire qu'on est bien dans ça, follow-up là, mais après nous pas de feedback, so what do we do?
Since we are together in the force and we make the report to the commissioner and then we do not get a feedback. So from there, what do we do?
You still have power as a police force. You still
D'accord,
have power.
d'accord,
Don't
I
ask what do
agree
you
with
do. Don't ask what do you do. You still have power as a police force.
D'accord avec monsieur.
I agree with you.
So, from this list, from the responses that you gave to this set of questions, would I be correct to say, apart from the other challenges that you spoke about, of arising from having these two institutions, was also the problem of difficulties in dealing with poor discipline and abuse of power by the officers attached to the
Igbo.
other units, the Igbo.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, the police, I got your answer with respect to the soldiers, that the soldiers in the Igbo team, you did not have, or maybe actually, let me not assume. Did you, as the head of the anti-narcotics unit in the police, have any control over the operations of the Igbo team or the special ops team insofar as they were conducting anti-narcotics work?
No.
No,
No, monsieur n'a pas contrôle.
I did
You
not.
did not have control. Were you informed that you do not have control over them?
No.
No.
You were not informed.
No.
So why do you say you did not have control?
À cause de l'opération qui fait, le children de l'opération, en dehors la position en dehors ANB, en dehors contrôler ANB, so
Because they run their own operations outside of A&B.
Okay. They are a separate structure. Okay. So am I correct that then you had police officers who are doing anti-drug, anti-narcotics operations, but they are not under the control of the police commissioner? I mean the deputy police commissioner and the head of the anti-narcotics
Yes.
police unit.
yes.
Okay. Did you raise any concerns about this arrangement? Or maybe let me start by asking, did you have any concerns about that? Because I may have assumed you had concerns when you didn't have. Did you have any concerns about the fact that you did not have control over police officers?
Yes, yes, yes.
Of course.
Okay. So did you raise any of these concerns?
Yeah, avec commissionnaire, dans le management, parlait de faire sortir, bon point. Yeah.
Yes, with the commissioner in the management meeting, sometimes we would make them aware of those points.
And what was the response of the police commissioner at the time?
Well, il y avait pick-up avec State House, mais seulement pas grand-chose que tu as fait, vraiment.
That he would pick it up with the State House, but there was not really much that could be done.
And did he ever come back to you after promising that he was going to pick it up with State House? And by State House, you mean pick it up with the president at the time?
Correct.
Did he ever come back to you with any feedback?
Oui, plus ou moins, visualiser les autres, faire le travail.
More or less that we had to let them do their work.
Okay, so just let things continue. Okay. On the CID, would we be correct to say the CID is a unit that falls under the police?
Oui.
Yes.
Okay. And were there any, during your time, was there any unit comprising of CID officers who were not reporting to you?
Non, en principe, CID, même si tu tombes en bas, tu as un autre head pareil, tu as tu peux dire avec M. Tiran.
No, in principle, the CID, even if they fell underneath us, but they had their head, like I was explaining to Mr. Chion earlier.
Okay. To the head of CID.
To the head of CID.
Okay. But doesn't the head of CID report to you also?
Autant que l'état INB choco fonctionnel, étant choco là-bas, oui, CID tient un component specialized.
While the ANB was operational and while I was there, yes, CID was a sort of specialized unit.
I think I must clarify that I understand you had a specific duty with the anti-narcotics unit as the head, but you had more duties than that. The other duties were that you were the deputy police commissioner. So which means you assist the police commissioner in overseeing all the units.
Yeah.
So that would include the CID. Right? So what happens, operations, policies that govern the CID would be something that you would be consulted when they are being made. Yeah.
Yes.
So was there a unit or a group of CID officers who did not report to the head of CID?
Permission pour moi demander une question clarification.
Permission for me to ask a question of clarification.
Sure. Go ahead.
So, what particular time or duration of time you?
I'm talking about during the time when you were deputy police commissioner.
Okay. Après qu'il est en between disband.
After ANB got disbanded,
This est député commissionnaire, moi qui tu saisi scène.
there was only one deputy commissioner remaining, myself.
Chana peut-être 2025, par contre 2025 à peu près qui oui Chana un petit setup un groupe CID qui investigate fait investigation.
In 2025, approximately, there was a small setup of a CID team responsible for investigation.
Okay. No, that's fine. We'll probably return to that at some point. Now, let's talk about the interagency operations. I know, and here we are not just talking about the two anti-narcotics units. No, we are talking about the broader framework, because we have been made to understand, and I think you confirmed earlier on, that the government took a decision, an amendment was passed, and a decision was taken that the police can request for assistance from, the soldiers when enforcing the law. So that's what I want us to talk more about now. have you, I mean, in your role as deputy police commissioner, you would have either overseen, managed, or been aware of operations, joint operations involving the police and soldiers, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I want you to help us understand the mechanics, the implementation of that framework, particularly when it comes to command and control. So when the police are conducting a law enforcement operation, and I understand that you said in principle the police commissioner would speak to CDF to get soldiers to join. Who, during such operations, who would be in control or who would be commanding the operation?
L'exemple typique que nous avons dit, l'instance côte. En effet, si vous permettez-moi, même avant tent amendement, la police t'habituée, fait un travail avec militaires.
A typical example, if you would permit me, even before the 10th amendment, the military was permitted to assist the police.
Nous travaillons ensemble dans certaines instances.
We work together in certain instances,
Imagine bien certaines instances.
if I can recall.
L'instance pareil, l'état COVID, nous faisons un travail ensemble avec militaires.
During the
So,
COVID, we performed the duties together with the military.
comment structure, c'est qu'il y avait des officiers seniors, par exemple, la police et puis militaire dans Command Center, par exemple, dans un Joint Operation Center.
That's
Et
true.
à cause simplement. Allez, sorry.
The structure would be that there would be a senior police officer and military officer in the joint command center.
So you are saying in the practice or the principle was that there would be a senior police officer and a senior military officer in the command element.
Yeah.
Are you saying, because I don't want to misunderstand what you are saying, are you saying the ultimate control of the operation is shared between the two, or what?
Pas nécessairement tout, dans toute l'instance. À cause, si typiquement qui la majorité des temps, il y a une police operation, so la police qui probablement il peut head the command.
Not necessarily in all instances, but most of the time it's a police operation, so most of the time it would be the police who would be spearheading the operation.
Okay, we'll come back to what you said most of the time. Was there a written policy that was shared with you which clarified the official position in terms of who, or confirming that the police are to be, or the senior member of the police, or the police are the authority in charge of the joint operation?
Non, mon pas rappelle mon voir qu'un document écrit qui dit ça.
I do not recall taking any written documents dictating such.
So, perhaps I need to explain why I keep us coming back to issue of document. It's because one of the issues we are picking up from the testimonies is the practice of issuing verbal instructions and just doing things without any written documents, without any any written policy document, written protocol. Would you say this was something that was happening a lot during your time as Deputy Police Commissioner? Were you getting verbal instructions?
Oui, nous tant pour faire quelque chose, l'habitude, nous l'habitude faire li, mais il faut récemment seulement et puis il entre une nécessité pour travailler à travers SOPs. Mais seulement auparavant, oui, c'est beaucoup ça, il faut on habitué faire comme ça, so.
Yes, we tend to always make the way of doing things, the way we do things based on habit. But as time passed by, we learned that there was a necessity for us to do our jobs through the SOPs. But before that, it was based on what we used to do, the way we were in a habit of doing things.
Yeah, because I'm saying this because the only, for instance, you never received a written communication informing you that a policy decision has been taken to establish the IBU with the same functions as the unit that you were heading in the police. When police officers were recruited from the police structure into the IBU system, you never received a written communication, you were just informed. Right. Okay. So in this case, again, you are saying in many cases, it would be a police operation involving soldiers, and therefore the police would appoint someone to oversee the operation.
Yes.
But there was no written protocol at the time.
Qui, en principe, nous préparons un operational plan qui nous donne job que tu fais.
In principle, we prepare an operational plan whereby we give each individual their specific task.
I understand that
Okay.
because an operational plan is based on specific operations you are conducting. But that operational plan must be based on a government policy, government written policy. Because government policies must be written down, especially in a society that is based on the rule of law. And so when you draft the operational plan, you anchor it on a written policy. Right. Now, we have, so one of the challenges that we have been made aware of, and we would like to hear your views on that. One of the challenges that was communicated to us by several witnesses was in these joint operations between the soldiers and the police, or where the soldiers are called in to assist the police, one of the challenges is that it would always be difficult for police, members of the police, to give instructions to the soldiers. I recall one witness asking us a rhetorical question and said, do you think you can, as a police officer, you can tell a soldier what to do? And we sought clarification, and they clarified that what it means is that they had a serious problem with the police giving instructions to the soldiers. Is that correct? I mean, did that happen in the first place?
Mon niveau, non, à cause, mon niveau, nous cause bien, nous comprenons, mais probablement, il va arriver plus bas.
On my level, I would say no. On the senior level, that is, because we communicate well amongst ourselves, I would say maybe the lower ranking. Yes.
But the operations we're talking about,
Okay.
are operations that require men and women on the ground, and usually it's the lower levels.
Yeah, ben, c'est ça que vous voyez par exemple, il y a un joint operation, il peut tout le temps peut-être aider les gens qui peuvent coordonner from le côté militaire,
That
qui
is
at
why-
least il y a capable, s'il y a une difficulté, il y a aider les gens qui sont capables solve ça issues.
That is why you would find that
Mais ils
every
sont
time
capables d'arriver à une difficulté. Yes.
there's a joint operation, you would see somebody from the military coordinating the military side for that purpose. But then again, of course, there might always be certain difficulties.
Okay, maybe we'll return to that at some point. Please, Commissioner.
Yeah, Mr. Sokwa, don't you think it was the difficulty came to it was not very clear. It was not very clear. I mean, as you said, the operations were police-based operations. Yes? Now, if they are police-based operations and we require the military would be there not to carry out the operation, but to
As
assist
support, yeah.
and support. And if there was any necessity of requirement of the military, then I think this would not have been a problem. If it was made clear on the role and the reason why the military was necessitated at this particular operation. Because if you tell the police and the military this is an operation and both of you are going there, then it's going to be chaotic. And this is what is being discussed now.
Okay.
Because everybody want to take control and one didn't want to take orders from the other.
Yeah.
I think the problem was it was not well defined.
And maybe to also, and we've clarified this, I think, even when we took the evidence from the former Minister of Internal Affairs, that because we are trained as lawyers, we can read the law and interpret it, and we understand that the law gives the police the authority. But then we don't expect soldiers and even some of the police officers to have the similar legal expertise. And this is why governments translate the law into policy so that it's clear. Right? And I think the fact that there was no this written policy, that protocol that made these things clearer, made it a challenge. At your level, of course, you understand the law, or you are expected to understand the law. Maybe those challenges, you were not meeting that resistance. But at the level of the people that you send to the field, there is a problem. Okay. Let me hand you over to Commissioner Vidot so that he can take us to the next phase of the testimony.
Okay, Mr. Sogwa. On the 5th and the 6th of December, there was an incident at the prison.
Oui.
You have to reply.
Yes.
Okay. And you were part of that operation.
Oui.
Yes.
And actually, what we've learned is that you took control of the operation. That is what was said by others.
Ok, oui, a plaisir de dire moi qui en ça, la majorité. Peut-être à cause moi, disons que tu highest rank officer, officier de la police là,
Yes,
Okay.
several
mais moi
of
tu as
them.
côté commissionnaire et puis nous tu ban les autres pareil moi tu mentionné qui tu ensemble dans la salle sur les.
Said that I was in charge. That I believe was because I had the highest rank, and I was on my side. There was the commissioner also, who was amongst the individual that was there in the meeting.
Commissioner of
But,
police,
yeah,
commissioner of prison. Yeah.
Commissioner of
Despite
prison.
that, we had the minister yesterday educating us on these operations, he said that because you were the highest ranking officer, CP George had handed over the operation to you, so you were the head of the operation.
Handover.
And CP George also said she handed over to you.
Oui, pour dire, oui, facile de dire, mais seulement qui m'a eu un handover. But never mind, oui, mon là, comment ça, les officiers plus seniors, la police, mais seulement, sorry, monsieur, seulement mon peut get dans une façon qui, oui, mon là pour support, commissionnaire George, avec aussi, l'équipe des officiers de la police qui est là ensemble.
Yes, to say it's easy to say, but how did she hand over? I see it as I was there as the most senior police officer, and I was helping and assisting the commissioner of prison.
That is not what we got from officers who, I mean, I don't have any knowledge as to how these operations work. The information I got is different from what you're telling us now. But you do realize that after that incident ended in a very bad way. You would agree with me?
Yes.
And when we were talking to the minister and asking for who would be accountable for whatever happened inside the prison, is the person who was heading the operation, and that is you.
A question?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted a response from you.
Okay,
Maybe I made a
okay.
statement, but because the minister says the Mr. George she's not accountable. It's the head of the operation, and that was you, and you are accountable for that.
Ok. Mon là avec mon groupe d'officiers qui est là ensemble avec moi.
I was there together with a group of officers that was with me.
Et que CP George là, et que le colonel Olada.
Including
So,
CP George and Lieutenant Colonel Olanda.
Le travail que nous faisons c'est ensemble. Comment est l'équipe? C'est pas les autres, comment est l'équipe?
We work together as a team.
Ça qui nous a créé ensemble. Si nous avons créé loin quelque chose, nous avons créé ensemble.
As we were as a team, so if we agreed on something, we agreed as a team.
So are you disputing that you are accountable for what happened?
Non, bon, pas pour nécessairement les prendre tout blâme qui ça qui est arrivé à cause, major à cause.
I would not necessarily want to take the blame for what happened, and I will tell you why.
Si disons une restriction qui nous sommes en dedans et où il y a des officiers aussi qui s'ignorent, qui l'ont terrain.
Let's say we were having instructions and we were inside, and you had officers as well who was on the field.
So nous avons créé un course of action par exemple, et puis nous d'accord avec ça, il y a un transfert avec les qui l'ont terrain.
And we agree on a course of action, and that is transmitted further to the people on the field.
So you dispute or you disagree with both Mr. George and the ex-minister?
Oui, à cause, encore une fois, c'est plus bonheur dans la délibération, nous voyons les difficultés, les trois entités travaillent ensemble. Surtout si vous ne rehearse, ou pas train ensemble, ou pas faire exercice ensemble, qui est capable de issues.
Yes, because from earlier deliberations, we found out that there is a difficulty that exists when several entities are working together, especially if they did not rehearse, train, or did any exercises together.
So, let me ask you something. Who then is accountable for what happened at the prison, the deaths, the injuries that happened there.
On ne peut pas répondre à cette question.
I would not be able to answer that question.
Mr. Sangwa, you were there.
Oui,
were-
moi, je suis là.
You were
Yes, I was
overseeing.
there.
Oh, 1 minute. You were overseeing that operation.
Yes.
Okay? So, having oversight of that operation, an operation which goes disastrously bad. So you have no knowledge and having 1 minute, and having years of experience as a police officer, you don't have any
Ok.
knowledge as to.
Allez, ma réponse, c'est qu'il n'a pas un moment que l'instruction qui est donnée pour peut-être pour battre du monde, par exemple, pour shooter du monde, pour tuer du monde.
So
Okay?
I just
I
want to
would
know.
say that there was no moment in time where the instruction was given to
We'll
beat
get back
someone
to-
or shoot someone.
We'll get back to that. Now I just want to know who would be accountable. I just want you to tell me who would be accountable, not as to the process of the
Yes.
operation. Who would be accountable?
Ok. Par exemple, si un monde fait négligence, par exemple, pour quelle raison, par exemple, pour battre un monde, par exemple?
If somebody
So,
has
à cause
committed
n'a pas l'instruction
negligence,
pour besoin de battre du monde.
what's the reason to
So-
beat someone? Because there's no instructions for such.
I'm asking you, who you would consider will be accountable for what happened? You must
So-
have a name. You must have an organization who is responsible, somebody who was leading the team. You have a name. I want you to give me that name that you feel is responsible, is accountable for that.
So, imaginez l'enquête qui a montré à peut-être lesquels qui battent. Oh, pas envie de dire ça.
Il peut demander en général.
I don't want you to try and bring me here and there. I want a simple question.
Ou ça peut
Answer.
arriver en général, ou pour dire lesquels qui.
Yeah.
Maybe before
Yeah.
that. Mr. Sangwa, a similar question was asked to the most immediate witness now is Mr. Fonseca yesterday. And his answer was, you were in charge. So he is giving you, he's not pinning you down. He's giving you an opportunity to give your version on that specific issue so that we don't arrive at a conclusion without the benefit of your version.
And I want a name or an organization, and then we'll come back to the operation itself. I'm going to come back to the operation.
So, on peut dire la police et militaire qui ça dé plus ou moins plus gros.
Uh,
I would say the police and the
entité là.
military, which was the two main biggest entity.
and I don't want just the police generally or the military, somebody who was in charge and who will be accountable for what happened. Somebody has already said that you are accountable. I'm giving you a chance.
Mais non, ok, monsieur, c'est ça que
So they have identified a specific person, you.
oui, pourquoi,
So you now tell me who, if there's another person who's accountable, you tell me that.
non, mais oui, la réponse c'est nous pas, moi avec l'équipe qui nous travaille ensemble, qui nous prend une décision ensemble. Nous pas nous directement les officiers on the ground.
Don't play that with me. Don't play that game with me.
Let there be a translation.
Me with the team that I worked with, we never
We never.
Okay.
Then it
we did
will
not finish.
Okay.
This game we're not going to play.
No, monsieur.
1 minute. I want you to tell me a specific person, a specific organization. Don't tell me how the operation went. Like you said that earlier, you said that Mr. Georges was there as well. You worked together. So, are you telling me that Mr. Georges would be accountable as well? What, yes or no? Yes or no? Will you tell me that Mr. Georges was accountable as well? Is it-
Oui, oui.
Yes.
Maybe yes.
Yes or maybe?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Will you tell me that Mr. Hollande, who's from the military, who was also there, is he accountable?
To a certain extent, yes.
Okay. Okay. You wanted to ask a question?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get to ask Mr. Songwa, that you know, the minister yesterday, he mentioned specifically, he mentioned your name, and then he mentioned the team of people that formed the Silver group present at the prisons. So in the Silver group, who are the people in the Silver group by name that was there?
Montagne POSÉE.
Yes.
Moi,
Okay.
commissionnaire Georges, Tade, assistant surintendant de nous avec Witz, tenant lieutenant-colonel Hollande, après tenant chef surintendant Bouzin.
Okay.
There was myself, the two assistant commissioners, and then Mr. Hollande and Mr. Bouzin.
Okay. So those were the people then responsible for what
One decision.
Commissioner
To take decisions.
Vidor says. Was we asking?
Maybe but it's a slightly different question, because what I understood him to be seeking your views on is, yes, you are a group of people who are in the command room or command group, but who is the head of this group? Who is chairing this group? Who is making the final decision on this group?
Décision qui est la majorité team, the Silver team qu'on dit, c'est moi qui est highest rank police officer.
Decision that décision qui la majorité.
Dans sa groupe Silver qui peut-être tu as mentionné là, Silver.
Après on dit ce qui est highest ranking officer.
No, we mark it the highest rank police officer.
Decision was the majority of the team, and I was the highest ranking officer.
Okay, so I think we do understand, and I think he did acknowledge that you are saying you would discuss before you make decisions or operational decisions, and people would give their views. But two questions that maybe you should try to answer directly. As those deliberations are taking place, there is someone, you see what we are doing here, there are questions that are being asked, right? But there is someone who is chairing the discussion, and that is me, right? So I would, and when a question is asked, and maybe I think, okay, maybe that question should be asked later, I say, no, let's stop. So there's someone who is controlling the discussion, because it can't just be a discussion, because you are dealing with an emergency, by the way. So it can't just be a discussion which is not chaired, and which is not chaired in a security way. So a security way of chairing discussions is even different from what we are doing here. It's command, it's instruction. There's someone who is chairing that discussion and who is directing the way the conversation happened. Who was that person?
Myself.
It was you, it was you, Mr. Francis Sangwa. Okay. No, maybe before I had taken from Commissioner Tirat. Is there any follow-up question you want to ask?
No, this one.
Okay.
Well, if there was anything that I wanted to ask Mr. Songwa was a little bit earlier. a little bit earlier with regards to the answers that you wanted to get with relevance to the IBU team when they were carrying out the duties, and you went to the police commissioner, and the police commissioner told you that he would organize, and I just wanted to ask you a straight question. Were you ever told to keep quiet and let the people do their jobs?
Not keep quiet, but let the people do your work, yes.
So
We have
don't
interfere?
huh?
Interfere, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah.
You were told.
Yes, I think so.
Let's just go back before we move on. So you're telling me you're not only accountable. It's not you who should be accountable only. Yes or no?
No.
No.
And you're telling me that Mr. George, the CP, is equally accountable.
Yeah.
And you're telling me as well that Officer Olanda, who was the highest ranking military officer there, is also accountable.
Yes.
Okay. So now, let's move to the Montagne POSÉE incident itself. When were you informed of the fact that there was an incident that was happening at Montagne POSÉE?
Après 5 heures sonné. Le
It
5
was-
heures sonné, moi. Ce que j'ai informé.
5 p.m.
Après 5 heures.
It was past 5 p.m.
Yeah.
And how was you informed, and who informed you?
Command center la police. qui t'informe.
The command center of the police informed me.
Okay. Upon receiving information of that incident from the command center, did you contact anyone?
No.
No.
You didn't get in touch with the CP,
No.
No.
but the CP is the one in charge of the prison. You are told there is an incident at the prison. Don't you believe that the first person you should actually contact is the CP?
Pas pour m'imaginer si mon collègue, moi, franchement, command center, command center, chef, dans l'information que tu passes, c'est tu dis un officier de la police. Là-bas, aussi.
I do not recall if I called her frankly, but the information from the command center was that there were already police officers there at the scene.
Were you informed who had dispatched such police officers to the scene?
Non, mais seulement mon magasin, je te dis, depuis response services, je n'ai pas le temps depuis les autres qui m'ont posé.
No, but I remembered that they said that the response services was there at Montagne POSÉE for a while now.
Okay. And you don't know who dispatched the response services?
No.
No.
Okay. So upon receipt of that call, did you proceed to the prison?
Oui.
Yes.
And were you alone?
Oui, mon cher, tout seul.
Yes, I went alone.
And at what time did you reach the prison?
6 heures sonné.
6 p.m.
Non, après 6 heures. Après 6 heures.
It was past 6.
When you reached the prison, was Mrs. George present?
Yes, moi je suis oui. Tu vois aller.
Yes, I met her. I saw her.
Did you have a meeting with her?
Oui, nous causons pour demander qui est vraiment situation, tu vois aller ensemble avec son député.
Yes, I spoke with her and I asked her what was really the situation. I saw her together with her deputy.
Where was that meeting held?
Dans l'aide bloc administration. Comme ça, on a été administration.
upstairs in
Code
the
block
administrative
administration.
block.
And who were present at that meeting, apart from those you've just mentioned?
Notre première conversation, tu causes avec les autres de son député.
The first conversation was I had it with her and her deputy.
Obviously, at some point, there would have been a meeting so that you could strategize and understand the situation. Before you can strategize, you need to understand the situation.
No,
There would have been a meeting discussing what the situation was and what strategy would be adopted.
Oui. Oui, après les temps, sorry, ça des assistants, ils arrivent l'autre aussi, après, bon, quand nous arrivons ensemble, ça des assistants avec chef surintendant, c'est après là que nous assisons pour faire ça meeting par pour dire.
When the two assistant superintendent arrived, I
Non,
think
assistant commissionnaire.
assistant commissioner arrived. I think they arrived together, and then when the chief superintendent arrived, that's when we had the meeting.
Who are those two assistant commissioners? You are talking assistant commissioners to the prison?
Assistant commissionnaire, député commissionnaire prison, moi je suis un autre
Exactly,
ensemble.
that's it, deputy
Après, ça
commissioner.
a des députés, ça a des assistants commissionnaires la police.
Okay.
Ça
And-
des nous avec Wits. Après, c'est surintendant Bouza.
The commissioner of prison and the deputy commissioner of prison, I met them
Initially,
firstly,
yeah.
and then afterwards the two assistant commissioners of police, Denus and Wits, they came, as well as the chief superintendent.
Jeremy Bouza. Yes.
And upon receipt of that call, why did you think it was necessary or important for you to assist to the scene, or would you have delegated the functions of going to the prison to somebody else?
Oui, je suis capable, oui, déléguer, mais je comprends qu'il y a ces situations sérieuses, c'est dans du fait, et ça tire un dit aussi, par comme une centaine, dans du fait, il y en a aussi un warden qui prend en otage, et vu aussi qu'il y a des ans dans police officer là, bon, l'aime de prendre une décision de quelque chose qui est assez sérieux, il paraît dans beaucoup d'instances, côté dans un rapport, l'état comme une centaine, forme, nous côté quelque chose. Oups,
So we could delegate, yes, but I understood that it was a bit serious. There was fire. We had been informed that already through the command center that the warden also was taken hostage, and there was already police officers on the scene. So I took a decision a bit on that line, yes.
Yeah. And okay, you took a decision to go to the prison. Let's go back to that meeting. You had a meeting, Mr. George is there, the deputy and the assistant commissioner of police are present. So what was discussed?
Qui situation il y en a en Lolamé qui vraiment nous besoin faire qui peut arriver.
What was the situation in hand? What was there for us to do, and what had happened?
So who gave the information as to what was the situation at hand?
Initially, Madame George, il donne un aperçu peut-être qui vraiment n'arrivé et qui m'a dit situation il peut dérouler.
Initially, Madame George gave us an overview of what really was the situation and what had developed.
Tell me,
Carry on.
you don't have to be in exact words.
Yes.
Tell us what Mr. George told you.
The exact, okay, pas nécessairement exact word, ce qui dans une situation ailleurs, dans certaines prisonniers qui mettent du fait, après, nous prenons otage un warden.
This is not necessarily the exact words, but that there was a riot situation and that there was certain prisoners who had set fire, and taken a warden hostage.
And
Et zot éparpillés partout.
And they had spread out everywhere.
everywhere where?
Côte dans prison.
Inside the prison.
Would you expect the prisoners to be in the prison, to be everywhere in the prison?
Meaning zot pas dans zot cell.
Meaning that they were not in their cells.
Okay. Did she tell you what provoked that incident?
Si mon m'imagine bien, il y en a un.
Did she tell you what provoked that incident?
Oui, c'est ça que mon père dit. Si mon m'imagine bien, c'est qu'il y en a un condamné ou un mettre mordant qui a mis dans solitaire. Et Prince dit c'est à cause ça qui t'a prendre la colère dans les autres prisonniers.
If I can recall correctly, was that there was a convict or an inmate by the name of Mother who was placed in solitary, and that's what incited the anger of the inmates.
Did you inquire as to what Mr. Moda had done in order for him to end up in the solitary confinement?
Non, pas non.
No,
Pas pour rappeler, hein?
I would not recall.
And at any time later on, did you find out?
Non,
No,
non, pas
you,
vraiment.
you never
I
found
would
out.
not recall.
Non, mon pas m'imagine, hein?
No, I don't remember.
Mr. Sangwa, you
Yes.
did find out because you gave an interview with Mr. George.
Oui, moi, je fais un interview.
Yeah,
Yes,
with
I
Mr.
gave an
George.
Ça,
interview.
mon pas dit, mon pas m'imagine.
That was the next
Right,
day.
you
I
don't
did
remember.
not say, I said I don't remember.
You would have remembered you did an interview and all these things were being discussed. I mean, unless-
lendemain,
It was just the next day.
lendemain.
The next
Fresh
day.
dans la tête.
Then,
It was still fresh in the mind.
yeah, the next day you heard it. You know, I've heard it a long time back, just like you. I saw you on TV giving an interview, and I can still remember now that that's what was discussed. So you did find out. Okay, you said she told you the next day. You were informed the next day when you
Non,
were
non,
having
non,
an
non,
interview.
non, pas dit, moi dit interview, tu fais the next.
Oh, the interview.
No, I said the interview was
interview
held
till
the next day.
So you don't recall what you said in that interview?
Non, mon pas pour m'imagine mot pour mot. Tout quelque
No,
chose qu'on dit.
you know. Sorry.
I would not be able to remember word for word.
Yeah, but obviously, I don't expect you to
Yeah.
say word for word, but I can remember what you said.
Tout quelque chose.
Everything.
Generally, I know.
Okay.
So you remember.
Non, François dit non, mon pas m'imagine raison d'être.
No,
Pas qui mon don tu gagnes dans solitaire.
honestly, frankly, to tell you, I don't remember the reason why Mother was placed in solitary.
And so she told you Mordor had been placed in solitary confinement, and the prisoners were causing havoc in the prison. And did you try to find out what is the relation between somebody being placed in confinement and prisoners causing havoc in the prison?
Oui. En fait, c'est que mon don, il donne ce dog.
In fact, it is
Il
that
est dans confinement, pas pour gagner dog.
Mother gives them drugs, and since he was in confinement, he would not have been able to give them.
So that's what she told you.
That's ça qui te gagne.
That's what was said, yes.
Somewhat different from what Mr. George said.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So you had that meeting, and so now you have a strategy. You must have adopted a strategy. What was your primary objective?
Pas nécessairement là, nous avons une stratégie, un objectif. Nous avons besoin d'espérer sa commandant Potro qui est déjà là aux vini pour nous représenter voir avec lui à cause de déjà là-bas.
We did not necessarily have a strategy.
So, pour lui explique nous.
We had to wait for the commander of Potro to arrive because he was already there for him to explain to us.
So I understand, Mr. Songwasa, that you had to wait for the Protocol commander to return with information before you could execute.
Oui, à cause, otherwise, nous pas pour capable, à cause lui qui commande là-bas, so nous besoin lui pour capable discuter en même temps et puis pour translate quelque chose avec lui pour lui.
Yes,
Yeah.
because we would not have been able, considering that he was the commander there, so we had to wait for him to be able to transfer the information and communicate.
Yeah, but
And
my
discuss.
question is
Oui.
that we understand this one,
Oui,
but my question is, the Commissioner of Prisons was there,
yes.
there were other officers. What was the prime necessity? What was decided that needed to be done?
Okay. C'est, allez?
Yeah,
Sorry.
what had been decided as the primary mission to be done?
Oui, c'est à nous faire façon nous mettre faire bandi moun retourne en bas pour autres entrer dans autres casseaux et deuxièmement c'est retourner encore le ça sur modon tiens un service de mon la tête là ça fait son casseau il restait dans lock and key et il y en a un non certain limite que tu gagnes mentionné qui il regarde la clé ça casseau et il y en a très probablement ça casseau il y en a contraband là-dedans so un c'est pour remettre bandi monde de casseau et deuxièmement c'est pour voir voir ça imite et pour entrer dans sa cell en particulier qui apparemment you know.
So the first objective would be to return to find some sort of way to get all those people to go down back into their cells. And secondly, with regards to murder, something comes to my mind now that his cell was to remain under lock and key, and that there was a certain inmate that his name was mentioned that was guarding the key to a particular cell that contained contraband, that we were supposed to locate that particular inmate to gain access to enter inside that cell.
So that was the primary mission
Yes.
that was established.
Yes.
At that point, sorry, you finished?
Yeah?
At that point, were there any other objectives?
Ça dé.
Those two.
Et probablement, en parallèle avec ça, c'est que nous devons faire attention no lethal weapon. Et ça, mon continuellement dit all the time.
Parallel to that was that we had to be careful and that we were not supposed to use any lethal weapon. I remember that being repeated several times.
So that means you had already made a plan to storm into the prison.
Storm, tu déjà dans les officiers Potro qui tu déjà en dans la prison, monsieur Jésus. Tu déjà là, autres. Et puis t'as montré, par exemple, tu n'es arrivé depuis Bonaire.
Because they were already there in the prison, already there, like I explained earlier.
So the Porto team were already inside the prison.
Yes. Yes.
So
Can
Yeah.
I just ask you, Mr. Rosa? So when you got there,
Yes.
the proto team was already inside the prison.
Oui. Oui.
Yes.
So who had initiated the mission?
because you had not arrived.
You are not.
Non,
there.
non, mon pas là, oui.
Who
No, I was not
initiated
there.
Mon pas connaît.
I do not know.
But did you ask? Because when you came, you said you saw the CP.
Yes. But even commencer, peut-être il dit dans un rapport qui sont les officiers la police pour trop qui est des arabes à l'aile aussi.
But when I was there, I was already informed that there had been officers from the Pochu that had already been there at the scene before,
Assez bonnet, hein?
quite early.
Just to clarify, then you take, but then I can come to the conclusion that the CP, being the highest officer at that time at the prison, was the first person to initiate the operation. Am I right in saying this?
Peut-être oui.
Maybe yes.
Okay. So, when you arrived, if you say the military, sorry, not the military, the police officers, the patrol officers had already penetrated into the prison. Okay.
Yeah, you were there. Yeah.
So, the fact that they told you that officers had been taken, one officer had been restrained, or was taken hostage, however you want it to be. So that was not there at that time, because that officer would have been released if the Pochu officers were inside already. Because it was not one of your concerns, you say. It was not one of your primary objective.
Because sa warden là.
Yeah, because that's why I asked you, were there any other objectives? You said, you mentioned some other stuff, but you never mentioned that one of the primary objective was to rescue or have him released. So if the Pochu team was already inside, that means that he had already been released.
Possible, oui.
Yes.
Mon n'a pas 100% quel est qui sa warden ti gagné really, so
I do not know 100% when exactly was the warden released.
Mr. Songwa, can I say that you were being fed with wrong informations which led to you probably taking wrong decisions?
Maybe.
Okay, maybe let's take a break.
Okay.
Yeah, let's take a break. It's exactly 6 minutes. Please, when we come back, the broadcast, maybe when you terminate, let them know that it's exactly 6 minutes, so that we don't delay starting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we have to wait for that.
Yeah.